What is a positive development currently occurring in the US that people might not be aware of? There's a man in my hometown who hides thousands of dollars outside a children's rehab center. He calls the front desk, and they organize a small scavenger hunt until someone finds the money. Later, they use this money to assist families in purchasing holiday gifts. No one knows the man's identity, but over the years, he has donated over $100,000. Every time the donation arrives each year, it typically makes front-page news. One of the accounts I follow on Instagram recently held a fundraiser aimed at alleviating medical debt nationwide. RIP medical debt functions similarly to conventional debt collection agencies by purchasing medical debt at significantly reduced rates. However, their unique approach involves forgiving the debt entirely rather than pursuing collections. In just a week, we managed to raise over $1 million, which will erase more than $100 million in medical debt. While this amount is small compared to the overall owed debts, and considering the complexities of the healthcare system, it will significantly transform the lives of thousands of individuals, and I find that truly remarkable. I observe my community amidst the changes brought about by COVID. Ordinary individuals are extending help to others, whether in public or discreetly. There's a local Mexican restaurant with a hole-in-the-wall vibe nearby. The food isn't exceptional but provides good portions at affordable prices. I was curious about its popularity. I discovered that they regularly feed the homeless in the area. Some approach them for food while others lend a hand during closing time and receive a meal in return. They never turn anyone away, generously offering food and even asking if they'd like chips and salsa. As a gesture of gratitude, patrons leave substantial tips. When my friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, her former next-door neighbors, an elderly couple, took care of her yard and regularly checked in on her. People are increasingly focusing on local elections and governance. This heightened attention doesn't solely stem from the highly charged political climate but also from the growing realization that the government, formed by the people, may end up excluding most ordinary citizens and evolve into an exclusive and closed-off elite group if left unchecked. Acknowledging this, people have begun taking greater interest, leading to challenging times but ultimately fostering stronger community ties. Amidst the sensationalism and overwhelming stories in the news, there's a rising trend of communities actively engaging with schools and local government, achieving one success story after another. Witnessing these endeavors gives me a glimmer of hope. Several days ago, we took in a fur baby that we suspect had been attacked by other dogs. When we found him, he was in shock and had multiple wounds. We were convinced he wouldn't make it. Today, when I arrived home from work, he got up and followed me to the kitchen, eager for a snack. He walked outside and relieved himself. Now, he's curled up on a blanket by the heater. Although he's still quite sore and moves slowly, when he desires some affection, he'll approach you, place his nose near your knee, and patiently wait for pets. Minnesota is introducing a new college initiative next fall, free college for individuals earning under $80K, provided it's their first degree. Completing a FAFSA allows the state to cover any expenses not met by federal aid or the school. No loans or extra application is needed. This opportunity would have been unattainable for me financially. It's poised to elevate hundreds of thousands from the lower rungs and could significantly impact the state's economy if it's sustained. In my small social circle alone, I know 4 people returning to complete their degrees. California implements something similar, and a few schools offer free tuition for those in financial need. I hope this marks the start of a widespread trend. I believe the Inflation Reduction Act holds more significance than people recognize. It's stirring discontent among other countries due to its infringement on trade agreements and its attempt to scale back our globalized economy. While this move benefits our economy and the environment, it compels other nations to follow suit, creating ripple effects worldwide. I empathize with the impact on trade agreements and the strain on other countries' economies. However, drastic actions are necessary, and this serves as a starting point, hopefully yielding overall positive outcomes in the end. Additionally, our focus should shift to funding green energy and production in less developed nations. This way, the poorest countries won't be subjected to further suffering. A hopeful aspiration indeed. Earlier this year, scientists in California achieved a significant breakthrough in nuclear fusion energy. If mastered, This technology could potentially resolve our energy issues and facilitate our progress as a species, even propelling us towards exploring the stars. It's a constant reassurance that the brightest minds on the planet are tirelessly seeking ways to advance our species. Additionally, this thread has brought more smiles to my face than anything I've seen on Reddit in a while. There's a prevailing negativity about America, but it doesn't align with the place I grew up in and currently live. Undoubtedly, we have our challenges, but there's also an abundance of positivity here that often goes unnoticed if one's perspective is solely shaped by information from a particular bubble or from being overseas. We're gradually phasing out open heart surgery. Valve replacements, stents, and similar procedures can now be performed without invasive surgery, all through the femoral artery. Pacemakers are continuing to shrink in size. We've made significant strides in understanding mental health disorders like ADHD. 20 years ago, few people were familiar with it, but now we have a much better understanding. Social media has evolved into a tool for enlightenment, diminishing the grip that governments and religions once had on information. Nonetheless, we're still fighting this battle. They're spending billions to maintain control over propaganda, and their desperation is becoming evident. Regarding the above point, social media and the internet are providing people with more and quicker access to information. We no longer have to visit a library and hope someone wrote a book on our topic of interest. We can simply search it up on our phones. In Oregon and California, USA, 4 hydroelectric dams that have been in place on the Klamath River for decades, devastating salmon spawning, aquatic, and wildlife populations, are being removed. The first dam is already dismantled. Over 15 years, local Native American tribes have collected native seeds. The approval and funding process took even longer. People literally aged and died fighting for this. Invasive plants are being cleared out and replaced with native flora. The accumulated silt is being removed, and the river's natural course is being restored. All dams will be dismantled within the next 2 years. Nature prevails. More and more school districts are adopting a 4-day school week, allocating the extra day for teacher meetings, planning, field trips, makeup days, and other activities. There seems to be a belief that because we've followed a certain method for so long, there's no room for improvement. However, education is an ongoing process. Students still fulfill their required minimum number of days, minutes per semester by either extending each day slightly or reducing summer break. This change doesn't overwhelm teachers with excessive paperwork. The sheer amount of paperwork per student, particularly data tracking, is enormous. This doesn't refer to homework or grading but rather extensive tracking for every single special education student. Additionally, teachers and several district members must hold monthly meetings with these students' parents, which can last up to an hour, taking at least 20 to 30 minutes each time. Now imagine doing this for every SPED student in the school. Some schools have almost 50% SPED enrollment. It's an immense workload. Student loan forgiveness. Alongside the creation of the new SAVE program to alleviate the burden of student loan debt for millions of borrowers, the Biden administration has actively reviewed existing student loan records. This effort aims to identify and fulfill the forgiveness obligations of programs that have existed for decades but have been largely overlooked or ignored by the federal government. This is not merely a theoretical concept. Both my brother and I have had our loan balances forgiven. This came after paying for decades under an income-based repayment program that was initially intended to last only 10 years. An NPR investigation exposed a significant failure of the Federal Student Loan Department in tracking and fulfilling its own programs and obligations. However, it took a presidential administration committed to assisting student borrowers in every way possible to ensure these commitments were realized. Right now, due to various factors, particularly cost, there's a trend among younger people seeking alternatives to college or university. They're searching for options that provide a more direct result in terms of job opportunities and career paths. Unfortunately, secondary education doesn't often align with these goals, but in Oklahoma, it does. Career tech centers offer job-ready skills and certifications in numerous fields, extending beyond the typical assumptions: diesel technicians, cybersecurity, web development, nursing, etc. These tech centers are free for high school students within the district, splitting their day between regular school and the tech center. It's a globally renowned system. Officials from other countries have visited Oklahoma's tech centers to explore possibilities of replication. It's a solution often overlooked, even by Oklahomans accustomed to the idea that college is the sole path to employment. I'm not saying college is a poor choice, but this system is a fantastic one that consistently changes and improves lives. I have a friend who is retired and fully covered by the VA for his medical needs due to disability. He cared for his bedridden wife, who was not insured and also not retired. Remarkably, she worked full-time as a customer service representative for a mail-order business right from her bed. Despite her situation, she never filed for Social Security or Medicare, nor did she seek medical attention. Her husband attended to her daily needs, bringing food and providing sponge baths for years while she managed household affairs using her laptop and cell phone. Recently, she faced a medical emergency, and her husband had to call an ambulance. After being in ICU, she's been in the hospital continuously. She had her foot amputated and today she's having her hand amputated. On a positive note, the hospital's care has been exceptional. They helped her apply for Social Security, Medicare, managing all her paperwork efficiently. Surprisingly, her husband hasn't received a bill from the hospital yet, although I cautioned him that the amount might be shocking considering she lacked insurance. Despite this, the hospital continues to offer outstanding care, guidance, and assistance, even considering placement in a nearby rehab facility and eventually a nursing home close to her residence. I find this level of service truly commendable, especially considering the usual horror stories about patient care. This hospital has gone above and beyond, contrasting the negative reputation some hospitals have earned. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the best Reddit stories.